Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Emiliana Martin, your host for this edition of Revivalist Conversations on the Revivalist News Network. Today's guest is Ashley Paintsil. Ashley is a U.S.-based writer and editor, and she's a content strategist for emerging fashion and beauty brands. Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. She has a passion for discovering new talent in the fashion, tech, design, and business spaces, bringing those stories to light. She also specializes in fashion, features writing, magazine publishing, editing, and creative consulting. She's also about to get her PhD in communications, and she has done fashion venture capitalism, which I did not know existed. So, welcome. Could you please introduce yourself to us and let us know a little bit more about you?
Yes, as Emiliana said, I'm Ashley Paintsil, and I live here in Newark, Delaware. A lot of people don't know where Delaware is or exists, but fun fact,
You're like just underneath Jersey or New York?
Like that? Joe Biden is from Delaware, so that is something,
yes.
that you can use as a fun fact. We kind of have some bargaining power over there with that. So I've pretty much lived in Delaware my entire life and been to school here. So I graduated with an undergraduate degree in fashion and apparel studies. Also got my master's in that as well. But after my undergrad, I went off to work at a company called Fashion Vest. Fashion Vest was under a venture capital firm called Innovation Ventures. Dave Freshman was the principal of the firm, and he invited me on as an intern when I was in college, and I kind of fell in love with the company. They fell in love with me. We started writing stories about innovation, technology, finance in the fashion industry, and we would hold pitch competitions that were Shark Tank style for emerging fashion technology companies to come and pitch to our slew of investors. We even have Damon John moderate some of those pitch competitions. So it was such an amazing time. I stayed there for about 6 years. And then we sold the company to the group that owns Women's Wear Daily. Then in 2017, I started graduate school and started teaching fashion journalism at University of Delaware. Then got my master's, and now I'm getting my PhD in communication. And
how old are you?
I am turning 30 this year in November.
Oh my God. So accomplished, and you're not even 30 yet.
Thank you.
Back to fashion. Okay, so I am a fashion fiend. So the first question I have for you is, what's the difference between fashion and style?
So fashion is what's available on the market, what people are selling out there, the things that you're seeing out on the runways. But style is the way that you put together those things. So many times when you are viewing a runway collection, there's always a stylist who actually puts together the looks that you see come down the runway. And those are kind of glorified versions of what those clothing pieces should be worn like together. But then you have influencers who will take it and wear it the way that they want to wear it. Or you'll see people on the street are wearing things in a particular way that are interesting to designers. So there are two theories. There's the trickle up theory and the trickle down theory in fashion, where the trickle up theory is people on the street are wearing clothing that is interesting. So we've had different movements like the youth quake in the 60s, punk in the 80s, in the 70s. And those were, a very streetwear kind of thing that came and influenced what designers wanted to do on the runway. So many times you'll see different movements kind of translating what is in fashion. And then there's another theory, the trickle down theory, where the designers, the upper class of society, decide that they think this is chic or in vogue, and then the rest of the world follows suit. But what we're seeing right now in the fashion industry is those kind of things are being upended. It's a vice versa thing. The street is influencing designers. Designers are the ones influencing what kids are wearing out on the street. But the streetwear movement in particular has been really big and kind of a prevailing theme that we've been seeing for the last several seasons.
But what about this year? What are you seeing as far as streetwear street fashion goes this year. I'm thinking street fashion because of the Black Lives Matter movement and just a protest period, everything that's going on. And so when I was looking up fashion for Black Lives Matter and so on, I saw lots of t-shirts. Lots of t-shirts. And then I also spotted, let me share my screen with you because I have got to show you what I ran across, which just fascinated me. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so I ran across this. I thought this was kind of interesting. I guess the designer was trying to demonstrate solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, bags. Gotta have those. I love this little get together. It just looks like sweats.
Yeah.
She's all stylish. Oh my gosh. Love New York.
Yeah.
This I thought was really cool. Have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
Wow. Do you know who the designer is on that?
It looks like they kind of painted that on themselves. But essentially, we're seeing more and more of this as brands are being forced to be politically active to take a stance. So, in particular, we have the Council of Fashion Designers of America, and they've put together an initiative with several influencers, editors, designers of color. They all came together to create something called the Black in Fashion Council. And the Black in Fashion Council is now taking to task the Council of Fashion Designers of America and the fashion industry in general, saying that, you know, you say that you're politically active, you say that you care about Black people, you say that you care about, you know, these political movements. So now you need to put your money where your mouth is and actually take steps to increase diversity, increase inclusion, increase people of color in your organizations. Because if not, you know, it's just talk and there needs to be real action steps. So I believe they've started with over 28 people in the council and companies who are, you know, joining in this initiative to actually take steps in action. And then there's another designer, she's an accessories designer named Aurora James, and she created the 15% pledge, where she's asking major companies to commit 15% of their product buy to Black owned businesses, and also asking consumers to spend at least 15% of your income on Black owned businesses. And companies like Sephora have joined on. So
I remember running across some things where somebody was busting L'Oreal's chops. Oh, Black Lives Matter? Well, then some designer just slammed him. And I guess now would be the time to do that, right? How many other designers are out there, Black or white? I mean, I'll be honest. My favorite designer is Christian Siriano, and he is spectacular. I see him embracing this. I'm eager to see what his fashion is going to be like. But how are these companies going to be showcasing Black fashion? Who's kind of taking somebody under their wing in a big way?
Well, I mean, I think we're kind of at the beginning stages of this because the fashion industry, to be honest, has been having this conversation on race for several years. Being a part of it myself, I've experienced discrimination, and then a lot of other friends of mine or colleagues who are editors or stylists or designers have all shared their stories. And the industry has always said, well, we want to be diverse, we want to be inclusive, but there's this tokenism, that we've been seeing, and now it's about actually doing something to actually change it. So we're watching to see who's actually going to make those steps. So Claudia Lai, for instance, she's an Asian designer. She kind of had to take matters into her own hands and create an all Asian, you know, cast of models for her runway collection in at New York Fashion Week. Jean Kirby Raymond from Pierre Moss has been very vocal about the Black Lives Matter movement in his collection. He's a designer of color, and he's had to kind of take matters into his own hands. So it's really been about the designers of color making these bold statements to say that, listen, we matter. What we do matters.
Yes.
And this Black in Fashion Council, I think, has been pretty incredible in taking the industry to task on words that they've said. Now it's going to be the actual action. So I'm going to be looking to see in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, to see if this is just a moment for them or if this is real change.
if for them it's just a moment, do you think that Black designers are going to propel and excel because of their lack of diversity?
So honestly, I think people are very aware of what is going on in the world right now. We can't hide from it anymore. We're in the
Yeah,
middle of a pandemic, and all of these issues of racism are coming out so clearly because we are being forced to reckon with this.
that's
And
right.
so if you are not on the side of change, I think you're going to get swept under the rug because at the end of the day, we are here to please our consumers. And our
That's right.
consumers increasingly want diversity. There's been studies that show that, especially younger consumers, they don't want to shop from your brand if you don't have a cause that you're attached to or you haven't taken a political stand. So
Right.
it's
So it's just more social awareness. In other words, nobody's going to turn a blind eye to social
no, you
justice.
can't anymore, and you can't in your companies
Right.
because somebody will put up a post on Instagram about how were discriminated against, or they're going to do, a Zoom session with their friend or an Instagram
Hmm.
live to talk about it and really air out their grievances. So you can't afford to not be on the side of change anymore.
Right. Right. Black Lives Matter fashion didn't exist a year ago. What are you seeing today? Also, with COVID, I noticed on COVID there were a ton of masks, which I should have figured that one out. Here, let me share that. All right, let me share with you some of the things that I spotted on the internet. Okay, so can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of liking. First of all, it's obvious that this is homemade, but still, it's stylish, right? It's trendy, and I love that mask on the right.
Beautiful. I love
Isn't
it. It's
that
so fun.
yes, yes? It's a little opulent, but so what? Yeah. Oh, I know it's teeny weeny. I'm sorry. It's a Coco Chanel design, Matt. Do you see
I can
the?
see that. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, give me that. But just looking at people being creative, even me, I love sewing, and I have been sewing face masks a lot. And I've been actually sewing N95 face masks. I get the filter fabric from Home Depot. I sent a nurse. Oh, look at this. Is it? I mean, if I walk down Broadway or something and I ran across a store with face masks, it's like, what? I mean, and have you seen Nancy Pelosi lately? I don't know if you happen to
Incredible.
notice.
I think she's incredible with being able to like match her mask to her looks. I don't know who's providing them for her, but she's incredible. Like that's
Yes.
like G status right there.
I mean, yeah,
That's
because when she
amazing.
started matching it with her outfits, I'm like, go on, girl, be fierce.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go
love
ahead.
it. I love
But
it.
and then this is the ultimate to me. This says to everyone, masks are fashionable. Like it just to me speaks life.
Yeah, so this is actually an issue that somebody photoshopped a mask on, but
Oh,
honestly,
did they really?
yeah, because this is a Vogue Arabia issue where Iman was on the cover, which I love. Honestly, we're seeing that a lot more that people are saying, like, you need to wear a mask now. And if this is going to be a part of our lives, we have to make it, work into our, personal style. I have the privilege of being able to stay home and teach during the pandemic, but
Mm-hmm.
I've had people who have so kindly sent me masks to wear if I have to go out and actually, oh, I love that. That's so fun. I
Which
love
one?
the
The
frill
yellow one?
yellow. That is so
Yes.
cool.
Isn't
But
that
I've
beautiful?
Yeah, I like that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I've had the privilege of people being able to send me that if I do have to go out, because if we have to deal with this as a reality for the next few years, it's going to be a part of our lives, and people always know how to adapt things to fit into their personal lives. So
Yeah.
for me, of
And
course,
I think it's not just part of our lives, right? So, I mean, shoes are already powerful enough, but this is something that's at another level of what's hitting the world. And yet some parts of the world, masks kind of normal.
I think everyone's kind of figuring out the best way to wear the mask that works for them, but actually taking the step to wear one, I think is really big because a lot of people don't want to wear a mask and have made it a political issue when this is actually a health
Which
crisis.
is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then there's also the face shield, which is, I've seen some unique designs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so tell me more about trends that you're spotting now these days, things that you're hearing on the street, things that maybe aren't very well versed, or maybe some names of some Black designers that are emerging.
Yeah, so I think the biggest trend right now obviously is comfort. We're all at home. We want to be comfortable. So everybody has a hoodie with something on it, or a loungewear line, or sweats. Now we are all going to be in Zoom meetings. So top up dressing on the top is like very important now.
But
But what
yes,
you look like up on top is important. So we're going to be seeing a lot of designers create collections that focus on top. Right now, Pierre Moss, like I said, Jean Kirby Raymond is killing it as a Black designer. What else do I really love right now that I'm seeing? I actually made a list. Let me pull it up. But my favorite Black designers right now are Carly Kushney. So she has a brand called Kushney, which is amazing. I mentioned Aurora James. She's an accessory designer that I just love since the beginning. She won a CFDA award.
wow.
She's incredible. Kirby Jean Raymond from Pierre Moss is amazing. Christopher John Rogers is up and coming. He makes these amazing, beautiful, color-filled collections.
Yes.
You just get joy when you see his clothing. I absolutely love him. Grace Wells Bonner is British, and she just makes beautiful clothing. She kind of reimagines what menswear can look like. And women want to wear what she's making as well because it's just so beautiful.
That was also another trend I've been noticing over the last few years is you can wear it whether you're Black, whether you're a woman or a man. I forgot what that's called.
Genderless fashion.
Yes. How's that going to also be impacting the BLM and the masking and so on and so forth? How's that all going to impact how people design? Is everything going to be gender neutral?
Well, I think a lot of designers are realizing that they have to integrate that into their collection in some way or another. So we're seeing a lot of designers actually do co-ed collections where they're showing both men's and women clothing, essentially saying you can choose what you want to wear. And then some people are doing straight out genderless fashion. But I think the reality is people see what they like out there and then decide how they want to wear it. I think that's truly what it's about, choosing what you wear.
Finally, I binge watched Making the Cut for season 1. Good God, please keep going. Please don't stop. Please give me another season. Please. One of the things that really got me was they had to do 2 looks and they're coming down the runway and they're just, both of them are amazing looks and they're gender neutral. And then they swap jackets at the end of the runway. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, gender neutral, woohoo. But is anything being lost in design when we do gender neutral? I mean, there's a beauty to women's fashion versus men. You know what I'm saying? Is that going to get lost now?
I think, honestly, I've never really sat down to think about that, to be honest. But I guess, my initial response to that is, like you said, there's a beauty to men's fashion and there's a beauty to women's fashion. Mm-hmm. But I think we all have the ability to choose exactly what we want to wear and how we want to wear it. And I think we should still be given that option. If people want to create genderless fashion, they can do that. But the reality is people choose what they want to wear and how they want to wear it, regardless if it's quote unquote made for a woman or made for a man. I don't know. Do we lose something from genderless fashion? I mean, it's something that both genders can wear. I'm not so sure you lose anything from that. But again, I don't think we're ever going to stop having people make strictly women's collections and strictly men's collections. I think what's changing more is the fact that how people are deciding to wear those collections.
I want to get back to justice for a minute. What is it that we can do, me personally, anybody who's listening, what can we do to support these designers? I know the easy part is, we'll buy their stuff. Well, for people like me, a $300 jacket's kind of expensive. But I want to support them. What are designers doing to get their designs down to an affordable level where we can support them and make sure that they succeed?
Well, one of the things that is happening are these consumer-facing collections that a lot of designers are starting to play with, give to their consumers, because the fashion industry has historically been a very closed society and only the select few can get to go to the shows. But Pierre Moss, for instance, announced that they're going to be doing a consumer facing collection where it'll be streamed live. Consumers can see what's out there. And they're adding in things or doing collaborations with Adidas, for instance, or Reebok or Nike.
Puma's also doing a thing.
Yeah, so a lot of these high-end fashion designers are doing these collaborations where consumers have the ability to participate in what is happening in their brand. Or
how so?
Because, if Pierre Jean Ramon, for instance, collaborates with Adidas or Reebok, you're still getting that brand. He's still participating in it. He's still getting paid because he did a collaboration, and you can still afford it. But the reality is fashion is expensive, especially when you are an independent designer, which is what most designers of color are, because they just don't have the financial resources. They have production costs. That's what makes clothing so expensive. And if you want to use quality materials, it's going to cost a little bit more. And if you don't have that financial support or the stores to be able to buy big lots of what you are making, it does drive the cost up.
Is that another justice point? Getting these huge retail stores to pick up on these never before known brands? Is that what's going to help Black designers?
I think
other designers of color? For example, Macy's is going to have to buy a huge...
Yeah.
So how else can they be sustainable? I just feel like white fashion will be here forever. And what about Black fashion? What about Hispanic fashion? What about Saudi Arabian fashion? What about all that?
That's why I think Aurora James' 15% pledge is kind of revolutionary, because now you are going to be forced to look at your product buy. So now when I walk into Sephora, I can actually find products for my hair that is a diverse range. Or the other day I went to Ulta and there was like a little section of Black hair care. I need more options,
Right.
So now you're going to be forced to consider your buy, because there are so many Black beauty creators, designers, people who are creating things for the world, and they just need to be given a chance.
The closest I've seen that's been successful has been Fashion Fair. I don't know what happened to Fashion Fair. I think they fell off the face of the earth. I don't know what's going on.
I think they were acquired. Yeah, I think they were acquired, and then they kind of changed the brand, and then it kind of got lost.
I would like to see Ebony bring it back, because I missed the fashion show. I went once with my mom to a Fashion Fair fashion show, and I was just like, wow. Most of the models were Black, which I'd never seen before. The clothing was off the chain, and it was once, and now they're gone. Who's the next Fashion Fair?
One of the things that I've been very passionate about is working on a beauty accelerator for people of color. Because
what's a beauty accelerator? What do you mean?
So in the venture capital space, tech and innovation space, an accelerator is basically a group that's put together by investors, strategic investors, where they kind of help you scale your company quickly with resources, mentors, people to kind of help you grow your business. L'Oreal has done a beauty tech accelerator before. I believe Sephora has had one. Walmart has had accelerators. Being able to create something specifically for creators of color, I don't think has been seen. And particularly in the beauty space, I'm always ranting and raving about this. I sometimes have to mix two different colors to get my color. And the reality is, or even just, I was talking about like my hair regimen with my mom. I have to go through like 30 different steps to get my hair to look normal. There should be there's a product for every step of the way.
You have just one product that does the whole thing? I mean, you're rattling my cobwebs right now, because I remember back in the 70s, finding hair products, and I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. You had to go to a Black beauty shop. You couldn't just go to Long's Drugs or Rite Aid and just expect to find your stuff. It was, if you were lucky, you got your stuff.
Exactly. So it's about, and I think honestly, thinking about this from an economic perspective is important for larger brands like P&G, for instance, or L'Oreal, because at the end of the day, if I'm using at least, 5-6 products on my hair, I will buy all of them if I know they work for me. So
That's
you need
exactly
to
right.
buy that for me. But there are a lot of younger Black-owned brands who are creating these products.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit more expensive, but I know they work for me and I will pay for them. So if that company works with L'Oreal or they get acquired by P&G, that only just helps, build out the Black community and the Black creators. And you're going to get paid L'Oreal or P&G because I will buy that. When Rihanna put out her Fenty makeup line, there are people in the store that were crying because they were like, I have never in my life been able to find my skin color in concealer.
Mm-hmm.
We should give people that opportunity. Black people we have the biggest spending power, even though we're a minority. We spend a lot of money. There was a book.
Oh yeah, women, are you kidding? We have tons of discretionary income. Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, I may be poor, but doggone it, I'm gonna look hot. I don't care. I'm gonna look good poor.
Exactly. We will spend on our hair and makeup. There was a book called Black is the New Green that talked about Black spending power several years ago. So it's just only helpful and only expedient, I think, for brands to take note of that. I shouldn't have a problem finding my skin tone, skin color, and concealer.
I got a mix to get mine.
Yes. Why should I have to do that when I know there's a Black person who can create the perfect formula for me? Or even just
fashion fair.
Yeah. But
we needed a new fashion fair.
Absolutely. Or for me, I want to see Black people get hired at these companies so that they can put their input, being trained to understand
that's true.
What it takes to create a product like that. That's been my biggest passion over the last few years and something that I'm pursuing, learning.
I have to confess. Okay, so I'm an old fart. Yeah, that's me. But I am loving the energy from the young people, from Generation Y and Z. Their energy is to die for right now. They have a mission. I want to see their passion interpreted in fashion. I want to see it come alive. I don't want it just to be words, blah, 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 blah. I want, for example, I'm not a PETA fan. People for the ethical treatment of animals, right? I had a PETA t-shirt. I wore it at Lawrence Berkeley. Just because I was I brought my kids and it said people for the eating of tasty animals. And it said, you can put your meat right next to my mashed potatoes and salad. Oh, and nobody paid attention, but one person. Fashion got one person's attention. Like, why are you wearing that? I said, oh, it's for fun.
Well, I was going to ask you, so relate to younger people. Ashley, I was just curious, what motivated you to get into fashion and kind of like what goals or mission? Is it joy, beauty, justice? And then, communication is, I'm sure, tied to fashion. So kind of what's your focus?
So my dad will always make fun of me and tell this story. When I was younger, I just had this liking for magazines. And it could have been a tabloid. It could have been like the AARP magazine that my grandma had delivered to the house, or a Vogue or Elle or, indie magazines. Love it. I still read it.
Where is it? Kevin Costner hotness. Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
But I just loved magazines. I loved how they were constructed. I wanted to see who was on the masthead, how they were put together. And I just...
The broad design aspect is popular in magazines.
Yes. With respect. But honestly, my parents would joke, we didn't have cell phones when I was younger, which is really funny. That's how old I am now. But
yeah, I know. I didn't get my first cell phone until year 2000, 1999 maybe.
Exactly. And I got it
late.
10 years later than that. But because my parents just never got me one. But they would always joke if we were in the store, they knew exactly where to find me, and that was in the magazine section. So I just developed this passion for, printed journalism. And then I also knew when I was 9 years old, there used to be this channel called Fashion TV, and there was a Calvin Klein show running on the channel. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was a suits collection. And I just instantly was attracted to that. And then the magazines came after that. And I said, I need to make sure that I am a part of this. I lived in Delaware, though, and Delaware is very small. And we don't necessarily, the fashion industry isn't necessarily here in Delaware. But I started to create opportunities for myself at the university. some friends of mine had wanted to start a magazine. There was a fashion magazine on campus called You Dress Magazine. They rejected my pitch to become one of the editors. So I was like, my mom was like, well, you should start your own magazine. And I was like, really? So some friends and I, we got together. We started a magazine called Pamoja, which means unity in Swahili. And we basically, did culture and lifestyle of people of color on campus. And there was a huge fashion component. I got to run the magazine, be the editor-in-chief. So really kind of everything that I learned from out my, obsession with magazines, obsession with fashion, obsession with creating things, that was all translated into the magazine. And we actually won an award. I won an award for like the best club president of the year. And they gave me like $1,500. And I
Congratulations.
Thank you. I used that $1,500 to do my first fashion internship in New York at Alice and Olivia. It was incredible. I just learned so much. Kept pursuing that. Got connected with Dave Freshman from Fashion Vest through my good friend, investor Pedro Moore. The rest kind of became history. And then what I realized is that, people of color need to have a voice. My beauty soapbox that I just was on about how we need representation.
Do you think you might restart that?
Oh, yeah, maybe eventually. Absolutely.
Yeah, because strike while the iron's hot. Black is hot right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking about that, some ideas of things that I've been wanting to kind of pursue and put together, and now that I've had time to think. But the communication piece comes in because I actually study how brands use social media to engage with consumers. So for my master's thesis, I studied a brand called Glossier. I'm not sure if you've heard of them before, but they're a direct-to-consumer beauty brand, and they've been really great at representation in their advertising, using real women, using men, and really showing that beauty is something that's for everybody.
And by the way, I love how you said about women. I love how they've opened up to women who are not size 0.
Yeah.
Because consistently I've seen on Project Runway and what have you, they are required to design for the curve.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for that.
Plus size fashion is super important right now. So I basically study how are brands using social media in particular to get their customers engaged, because we don't need to buy stuff anymore. We want to buy into an experience now, especially younger people. We're all about the experience economy. We're all about the sharing economy. You don't even need to own things because our lives are lived out on Instagram. So, so honestly,
my life is lived out on Twitter. So
on Twitter, yeah. And ours is lived out on Instagram. So we're very visually driven, and about how are brands fitting into that lifestyle. Direct to consumer brands in particular actually use the comments that their consumers put on social media to create products so that you're getting exactly what you wanted. And you have a say in what you're purchasing from this brand. So I really study how that works.
Wow.
And really have found really interesting things about that.
Wow, that's really fascinating. You remember Joan Rivers and the Fashion Police?
Yes.
Oh, God, that was so good. Oh, my gosh. But when she passed away, they tried to keep going, and I think it just sort of died. What has that meant, having her gone, having the Fashion Police gone? What has that meant to fashion?
They continued it on with Juliana Rancic and
They had Kathy Griffin for half a minute, but that just didn't work.
Yeah, but there was an instance in particular where Juliana Rancic had made a joke about Zendaya, and she was at the Oscars and had dreads, and she said the dreads smelled like weed and patchouli oil. And that was a very
offensive.
Very offensive. It kind of opened up the conversation for how Black hair is viewed in the public. Even though she wasn't the writer of the joke, she was the one who communicated that out. She later came on and apologized, which I appreciated. But I think the reality is we're in a world where we've all been criticizing each other so much all the time about everything. And so,
especially in the last 4 years, I kid you not, in my humble opinion, the president has brought us down so low. I even catch myself being hypercritical. I'm like, no. This is not that important. It's not a big deal.
Exactly. So for me, I'm a Christian, and there's a verse in the Bible where it talks about the fact that the angel Michael was disputing the body of Moses with Satan. And Satan in the Bible is called the accuser of the brethren. He said, I'm not going to accuse you. Angel Michael says, I'm going to get behind you, because if I accuse you, I stoop to your level.
That's right.
Being critical and accusing people of things is not the way anymore. It's about educating people and bringing people into the fold, because the reality is a lot of people aren't educated about issues that are going on in people of color's lives. And so now is the time for us to step aside from pointing the fingers at people.
Just display, be on display.
Showcase
what we got.
Showcase what you have. And I think the show Fashion Police was there for fun, but that moment kind of changed it into something that
it wasn't intended.
Fun, and it wasn't intended. And so now we're in a space where we do have cancel culture, we do have call out culture, but I don't think it's helpful for, the times that we're in.
Right.
Agreed.
And I'm glad you brought up Jesus, because I happened to notice there was a whole fashion Jesus thing at Paris Fashion Week where almost every single piece had the face of Jesus on it, or my Lord and Savior. And okay.
Well, the Met had done, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Anna Wintour puts together the Met Gala every year, and they did like a religion and fashion exhibition.
Yeah, somebody came with a Pope hat. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really?
Because faith is something that a lot of people are exploring in the fashion industry. We've seen it with Kanye West and, his Sunday services. He did it during Paris Fashion Week, where he's opening a conversation about faith with the fashion community, which I think is pretty incredible and important, because...
That's incredible,
Yeah, because the reality is we are all spiritual beings, and we all want to find meaning. And
what nuns are wearing, can we just have something else? Can nuns just get something else?
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I gotta say it. I was raised Catholic. Can we just have something else for the ladies? I mean, for the nuns. I mean, seriously.
No, I'm all into Amish fashion myself.
Yeah, I mean, well, we are getting into this, modesty movement. People are trying to be a little bit more covered up now, but I think things have been upended with the pandemic. And like I said, it's, what do you look like on top now? That's what I'm thinking about, because I'm living my life out now through a Zoom screen or Instagram. So
so it's not just you; it's the artwork on the wall behind you, and all this stuff.
It's everything. Right? Yeah.
Oh, when I'm watching people on MSNBC or CNN, their background is fascinating. And Eddie Glaude has this bunch of books behind him, and I'm looking at the titles, going, "Ooh, I got to get that. Ooh, I want to read that." And then somebody else last night, he's doing his. I think he's from the Washington Post, and he's doing his Zoom call from a bedroom. There's a bed behind him with a nightstand. It's obviously being used. I'm like, dude, no. See, and that's becoming another thing.
Yeah,
I love your background. It's a beautiful shade of pink. It's just beautiful. I love it. It goes with your dress. Your skin tone just comes out. It's beautiful. But, a bedroom?
Yeah, well, I think that's the struggle we're all going through now. We have to figure out how to integrate the space that we have and use it in a way that is aesthetically pleasing. There's a Twitter account that actually rates the bookcases of people on Zoom now, since we've seen everybody in the world bookcases.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's interesting. Even I see it as a additional channel for personal expression. So at church, I don't get to choose anything about the background. And even in business meetings now, it's not just the corporate thing. It's like, maybe this is why I want to communicate. A nice tree behind me.
And really, thinking about that, it is kind of a fashion statement now. People don't even realize it really is. It's about your decor.
Huge.
It's, what are you wearing? And then it's also what's behind you. What are your what's your taste level? Who are you? That's what it is now. And so you get a little peek. And so, for example, I think Steve Schmidt, for a while, he would have he'd be in the kitchen and you'd see a couple of pineapples and some flowers. It was beautiful. This other guy, John Heilman, he was out in his backyard once. Another time he was in his kitchen. Then his dogs show up. And it's like you're suddenly getting to know these people on a very personal level. At least it seems like that.
Right. So I'm waiting for Zoom to have filters. They have one checkbox, make myself look better. I dare not check it.
Yeah, that's the one I use. Well, yeah.
And is that skin tone related? Who knows, right?
Yeah. Now we're thinking about our filters. So I attended this like beauty school by an influencer named Kristen Noel Crawley, which was amazing. She basically like opened it up for people of color to learn about how to get started in the beauty industry. And she had this filter that she designed for her KNC beauty school that was incredible. But I noticed that she had to slick down her hair because like my hairstyle like this does not work for a filter. When it's slicked down, that's how it works. So I think people are starting to think about all these different things. Like somebody needs to create a Zoom background where like my hair isn't going to just like get lost in the
disappear.
background.
Yeah. See, mine, I got this halo around my afro and it's like, you can't see the curls, you know? So it's like, okay.
For men, what's the number one Zoom fashion? A baseball hat, right?
Yeah, at this point.
Please don't.
Well, people aren't going to be able to get their hair cut, so they got to look presentable in some way. So,
in fact, Randy Rainbow, so cute. In his last parody, he remarked that it's been 5 months since he's had a haircut, and his hair is like super long and curly. So cute. Girl, we need to talk more, because this is fun. You know, I was like, I got to research this to death, and I'm like, it's got to be. I'm like, this has to be fun. There has to be some fun in all of this crap that's going on. So I really appreciate you. I mean, you know, just kind of the breaking up all the seriousness and all the depressive stuff. In fact, Michelle Obama on her podcast this week talked about how she's got low-level depression based on what she's seeing. So this is my, yay, fun, not so hard.
Yeah.
So thank you so much that you're around. I mean, we need people like you because there's always a place for the arts. Always. In fact, the first person in the Bible to be filled with the Holy Spirit was an artist.
He's a Lil. Absolutely.
Yes. That's right. So, yeah, we need to talk some more. And you're a PK, right?
I am. Very much am.
If you could send us some links to sites or Instagram accounts that you follow.
When I post this, I'll put those links in the thingy.
Okay, so just people that I'm following and think are interesting. Okay, perfect.
And which platform do you use most often? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram and TikTok?
Oh, I'm not a TikToker. I'm terrible. Apparently, it's going to be sold in 45 days. I don't even know anymore because of Donald Trump's ban.
Yeah, you know, he does that. I'm not going to be thrilled. What's Sarah Cooper going to do?
Oh my goodness. No, so I use LinkedIn a lot, actually, Instagram, Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter in a while, but I think Instagram is like the best place to find me these days, or Twitter. But I'll give you all of my handles.
Yes, please. That would be awesome. Well, I'd like to thank everybody today for checking us out and having some fun amid all the You can find me at facebook.com, the Revivalist News Network. And then you can also find me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Revivalist News. And there's a bunch of little links over here on the side that you can go to. So please check us out. There's also Patreon. Please support good news. I could use a few things like a brand new computer because this one's on death's door. So feel free to send me some money and support good news. And that's at patreon.com/The Revivalist News Network. All right. See you soon. Oh, you too can be Revivalist royalty. So come on over. Have a wonderful day. Walk in peace. Be at peace. Peace out.